Welcome students. Today I will discuss some basic aspects of plant physiology. Actually, this core paper for semester 5 students of West Bengal State University and other university curriculum, this is the most important portion of the semester. So firstly, we must have a clear idea about what actually plant physiology explains. Plant physiology deals with various plant processes. These processes include their growth criteria, their developmental sequences, their functionality, and the subsequent specific interaction with various biotic and abiotic circumstances. Now, in spite of great variation in plant kingdom, they show similar physiological processes, or almost similar. They transform solar energy to chemical energy by the unique mechanism, namely photosynthesis. And this is one of the most important mechanism by which they can produce their own food and they can maintain their vitality. Here I mention some of the important words from the book Plant Physiology and Development by Sir Theys and Geiger and other respective authors, and from the 6th edition of this book, and this is one of the best book in plant physiology also. Now, in the syllabus provided by the West Bengal State University, there are a few units, like Unit 1, Plant-Water Relation, Unit 2, Mineral Nutrition, Unit 3, Nutrient Uptake, Unit 4, Translocation in the phloem, Unit 5, Plant Growth Regulators, Unit 6, Physiology of Flowering, and Unit 7, Phytochrome, Cryptochromes, and Phototropins. Today, in this lecture, I will provide you all some basic idea about all this at a glance. So firstly, for Unit 1, which explain about the plant-water relation, you must have a clear idea about what is actually explained by water potential. Water potential is a measure of the free energy of water per unit volume. All living organisms, including the plants, require a continuous supply of free energy to conserve and repair their sophisticated structures, and also for their growth, developmental, and reproductive purposes. Here I want to mention some other vital processes, specifically all types of biochemical reactions, solute accumulations, and mostly the various transport mechanisms. All this are dependent on this water potential, along with and especially the free energy driven processes. And I want to mention the plant cells typically have a negative water potential. Yes, it is. Because the free energy of water within the cell is less than that of the pure water at ambient temperature, pressure, and height. So water enters, leaves a cell according to their water potential gradient. Now for mineral nutrition, here root systems of plants play a pivotal role to include mineral nutrients. After their absorption by roots, these elements are translocated to various parts of the plants and participate in various biological processes. Plants develop suitable root systems for this purpose, along with for their water absorption also. We can recall that already we have studied mycorrhiza, that is, the fungal association, obviously a symbiotic association with roots of higher plants. There are various types of, like ectomycorrhiza, endomycorrhiza, and the intermediate ectendomycorrhiza, etc. But the most important one, what I want to mention, that these mycorrhizal fungi associated with the roots of higher plants to increase their surface area. And by this increase in the surface area of their roots, they can increase much more efficiently all types of nutrients. And in return, this fungi receive carbohydrate source from the plants as a reward. Now, in translocation in the phloem and in the nutrient uptake, these are very much correlated and very important. Soil as a nutrient reservoir, yes, it is. All types of nutrients are within the soil, and plants can absorb from by their roots all types of nutrients. And we all know that plant roots mostly only absorb the capillary water, and all other nutrient substances either dissolved or within that water. Then there are various types of mechanism which help to transport of these nutrients from one place to another. Some are active absorptive mechanisms. These are mostly and always energy driven. Some are passively activated, and some are by facilitated mechanisms or support systems. In this section, you have to understand the various other mechanisms like uniport, antiport, and symport, along with proton-driven ATPase pumps. And if you consider the translocation mechanism, for this purpose, phloem play a very important role. Actually, phloem translocates or phloem-mediated translocation mechanism transfers the products of photosynthesis from leaves to areas associated with growth and storage. This mechanism also transmits various chemical signals, ions, and other important substances to the various parts of the plant body. In this unit, I must mention the importance of sieve elements of the phloem, which carry on sugars, many organic materials from one part of the plant to the other. There are various types of models to explain this translocative mechanism, like pressure flow model. Phloem translocation as a bulk flow by osmotically generated pressure gradients between the source and the sink. And there are other model or mechanisms like phloem loading and unloading. Here, phloem loading collection from the source, that is, where the product or the food source originated by the process photosynthesis, that is the leaf, and the phloem unloading to the sink, that is the growing or developing parts. And this process also driven by pressure gradients, and it's a passive mechanism. And this is also a long distance flow. So these are the mechanisms which can explain the translocation in flame. And in the next 3 units, plant growth regulators, physiology of flowering, phytochromes, cytochromes, cryptochromes, and phototropins, we study the other important physiological mechanisms. For plant growth regulators, these are the various substances which play very minute and very important roles, and these are auxins, gibberellins, cytokinins, abscisic acid, ethylene, and others. Already, from our previous experience and previous understanding, we have some idea about these plant growth regulators, commonly known as plant hormones, like auxin, like gibberellins. We already have a clear idea. Auxins, they provide you triple response. Gibberellins, they help in internodal elocation. They have a role in flowering, in germination, etc. Cytokinin, they have a pronounced effect on cell division. Abscisic acid, some promotive effect, and some suppressive roles also. Ethylene, they provide you some economical and other associated roles also, like they help in fruit ripening and some other proposed plant growth regulators like fleurigen. It has been thought that they help in flowering responses. We study in the next unit also. And in the physiology of flowering, it actually explains the various roles of many agents, like the role of daylight, the role of various other stimulus. The concept of fleurigen, already I mentioned the name. Another important term, the vernalization, that is, the promotive effect of low temperature on flowering. Then we can discuss the cetodormancy and germination. Obviously, all this mechanism, they are controlled by some genes. And these various types of genes can express their intricate mechanism in such a way that we get a visual expression. So under the photoperiodism, this portion can explain the day lengths. Depending on this, we can classify short day plants, long day plants, and some of others day neutral plants. Okay, that is, some of the plants which are modified by light and some others are not modified by light responses. And if they show some positive response, they're positively phototrophic. So photoperiodism, to explain photoperiodism, we have to study the critical day length. And depending on the critical day length, we can classify SDP, LDP, or day neutral plants. And last but not the least, Unit 7 explain about various types of photoreceptors. There may be phytochromes, there may be cryptochromes, or there may be phototropins. All this, that is, phytochromes, cryptochromes, and phototropins, they help to regulate various developmental processes by sensitizing plants to the incident light. Along with these photoreceptors also help to protect plants from harmful radiations also. In this portion, we have to understand the nature of phytochromes, chemical nature, the structure, types of phytochromes, their light sensitivity, their conversion from one type to another, and the various effects. So these are the units which we have to study for this plant physiology paper. Initially, I suggest you to follow your textbook, either college in botany or college botany or studies in botany or other textbooks. And for reference purpose, this is the best book you can follow, the plant physiology and development. This is the last 6th edition, 2015 edition. But I never tell you to purchase this. I provide you some of the information, very crucial and updated information from this book, from my next videos. And I'll also provide you some charts, flowcharts, or other drawings or description from this book. For your personal use, you can also follow this book. It provides you lucid information from various standard books, Fundamentals of Plant Physiology by V.K. Jain, and you can purchase this book. You can follow this book for undergraduate and postgraduate and other competitive exams. But for better understanding, Theis and Geiger, which I mentioned, this book is best. I'm here mentioning only 2 books, although there are some other books, so many books, some other good books also. But initially, you can follow your textbook, either college botany or studies in botany. Then you can purchase Plant Physiology, this book, and Theis and Geiger book. So best of luck for your first introductory class on plant physiology, and best of luck for this new session, and go through your textbook. This is the most important advice from my side, and you can subscribe this channel, and also you can ask whatever you have any problem in the departmental Google Classroom network or in the departmental WhatsApp group. Thank you.